Okay. Like to call what is it, November 16th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee of City of Olivet to order. We'll call the roll. Commissioner Hanson. Here. Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Neal.
Here.
Commissioner Hillman. You're on mute. Commissioner Hillman.
Yes, here. Yep.
Commissioner Bucky.
Here.
Budke. Okay. Marvin Krumer. Here. Parks. Don LaChance.
Present.
And Beverly Tucker Knight.
Present.
And Maxine will be here after a bit. She's been delayed. Anyone? So I will say that there is a quorum. So move to hearing from citizens. Is there anyone? There's no one in the room that I believe wants to make a comment. Is there anyone online, Don?
There's not.
Okay, we will move on. Written communications that we've received since the last meeting. I see that there's an email from Joe Vogt that was thanking the commission for participating and attending in the Harvest Festival. And I would also say to thank staff for all their work, because it was quite a successful evening, and I think everyone had a good time. And I don't know, does anybody have any comments about the Fall Festival or anything that was going on? It's one of the opportunities that we get to go out and see folks and listen to what they're saying. I'll reopen the roll. Commissioner Rich. Okay. Moving along, the director's report. Beverly, can we beam you in?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Well, Beverly Tucker Knight, Parks and Recreation Director, and I wanted to kick off by saying welcome to Stacy. It's a pleasure to have you on the Parks and Rec Commission, and we're very much looking forward to working with you. This is a quick update recap from since last month, what's been going on. We have, as just mentioned, we had our wonderful Harvest Festival in Stacy Park under the lights, and it really was a wonderful showcase of the new pavilion and the new pathways of the park, and we had a great crowd. It was a terrific turnout. That's the biggest event we've had post-pandemic, so it was very exciting. And we the Not So Spooky Trail was a big hit, so staff have had a great meeting about how to improve next year, and I think we're going to bring it back to Stacy. It was such a good event, but we will make that determination later on in the summer next year. Youth basketball closed this week, and I apologize, I don't have the most current stats, but I know that because I'm out, also Corey is out, but I'll definitely have stats for you soon on what our final count is. The city offices have all relocated successfully. Everybody is at the city center. And during the time that we moved, when the offices were closed, we took that as an opportunity to do a lot of staff training and team building. And then the entire Parks and Recreation staff had a tour of the food pantry and an understanding of who they serve and what their operations were. And then we spent 2 hours actually working in the pantry, and that was fantastic. So great picture here of Marvin and Brian sorting donations. So we really had a great time. And then the other big project, Merle, the parks crew lead, organized us to paint all of the new picnic tables for Stacy Park. That was pretty exciting. And it was the fastest we've ever done. And they got 2 coats of paint each. So that was terrific. That was a great team building. And it was a job that needed to get done. So that was great. And just to let everybody know, all the restrooms are closed in all the parks for the winter, with the exception of Stacy. And this year at Stacy, for the first time, the drinking fountain outside the restroom is going to stay open all winter, because with the renovation, we were able to heat the back end of the new drinking fountain. So that is a huge improvement there at the park. So very exciting. And then personnel, we welcome Julian Johnson. He is a student at Fontbonne studying sports management. He will be the part-time sports specialist working with Corey. So welcome to Julian. And then we have, for those of you that haven't seen it, I urge you to go take a walk behind the Stacy Pond. There's a new hiking trail coming in that circles that area. And along the side of it, we have this wonderful Eagle Scout project headed up by Clayton Seeger. He's doing this as a partial fulfillment of to attain the rank of Eagle Scout. They removed an incredible amount of honeysuckle and then planted many new trees. I've got the stats in here to tell you right now. He planted 15 new trees, and then the pile of chips from his clearing of honeysuckle was 15 cubic yards. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you think of your typical mulch load that comes to your house is maybe 2 cubic yards, that was an incredible amount of honeysuckle before it got chipped up. We had our first Weed Warrior Day on the pathway last Saturday, and there were 8 people were out there, which was fantastic. We'll be out there again on the 10th. And then Turkey Trot is on Thursday. And I just want to remind you, if anyone is interested in participating on the day, it is a tremendous amount of fun. And we still have space for people if they want to assist with hot beverages, which is hot chocolate and hot coffee, and then passing out water at the finish line. And it's a lot of fun, and it's cleaned up super fast. Oh, and also parking. In fact, you may know the parking captain, who I believe is Jim Person. So it's a great opportunity to see probably most of your neighbors and have a great amount of fun, and then have a free beer before you go home and start the holiday. So we're also collecting food for the food pantry. We learned during our visit to the food pantry that their donations are significantly down. And we also learned the shocking statistic that 1 in 6 people in the St. Louis region are touched by food insecurity. So that is something that we can make an immediate impact by just sharing a little bit of canned goods. And what we learned from the director of the food pantry, we used to get these lists of the things that are most needed. And she said that the really important thing is for people to give food that they like to eat themselves and with their family. So anything canned that is a regular something in your family, she said, then odds are another family is going to like that just as well. So I thought that was a really nice way for her to share that information. This Saturday night promises to be incredibly cold, which is a great opportunity for stargazing, because stargazing when it's cold, you actually see more than when it's hot. So it's very exciting. That'll be at Stacy Park from 6 to 8. We've got the Turkey Trot. We got Kids Night Out coming up on Friday, December 9th. And I think that's all of our flyers. So I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
What is the name of the new trail? And I know we've named all the woodland trails at.
We have. And
What
I
are-
know that there is a name for that trail, and I'm going to blame it on COVID brain and tell you I can't remember the name of the new trail behind the pond. I believe it's something to do with a fir tree or pine
Okay.
tree.
We'll get that out.
We'll get that information out.
So are there any other questions? Oh, and I will put in a pitch. I'm parking captain. but I'm not parking alone. So if anybody has an opportunity on Thanksgiving morning, we'll probably start about 7, and as Beverly said, we'll be out by 9. So
No, 10:30.
Oh, 10:30. I stand corrected. But so if anybody wants to do that, there will be ample opportunities to volunteer. Okay, moving along on the agenda, city council report, Mayor Well.
Good evening. I just want to, well, first of all, last week we had a coffee with the mayor and my guest was Keisha Lee, and she was awesome. And if you haven't had a chance to see it, we had a great conversation and we got wonderful feedback. And Keisha is the president of the Ladue School Board, for those of you that might not know that, and also has been on our commission. And it was really a wonderful conversation and we learned a lot and we had a great turnout. And next month it's going to be on December 14th, and I'm doing a trio from the fire department. So I'm having Chief Steve Carmen, Assistant Chief Tim Fain, and Captain Parker Spencer. And we're going to do, there's a lot of great information. And for those of you that don't know, Captain Spencer and Tim Fain and Assistant Chief Tim Fain, they were the ones that actually went into University City and helped out. But it's Captain Parker Spencer's training with water and all of that with the rescue and water situation. And now we have voted as a city council that we're going to be spending some money to do the professional development and the training for that, so that every crew has at least one member on their team that can do the special kinds of rescue if need be in natural disasters. And so it's very exciting that that we could be there to help you, city, but that we'll be investing in this training. We also, last week, we passed a special use permit in regards to a cultivation center, as well as a dispensary if they were to want to come into our city. So that had been a 6-month project, and we had involvement in that with the members of Citizens for Clean Air. And it was really a wonderful process, and people stood up at the end of the evening and thanked us for the process. And, you know, we went from I don't want to say a hostile situation, but very people when they were very frustrated, to people that came together and went through the process with PCDC as we revisited the special use permit. And then we came back together and we came to consensus and agreement on how to move forward. And so that was very successful, and we felt really good about that. And we're gearing up for Turkey Trot. I know Bev talked about it, but Bev, did you give us a count? So last week,
Yeah, the count I heard today was we've over 1,000, and typically the last 2 weeks are when I think 80% of the people register. So we expect to receive quite a few more registrations between now and Thursday. However, the cold weather can put a damper on people signing up.
so it was projected last week when we were at the 900 mark that it could double. So it could be between 1,800 and 2,000 people, which would be pretty amazing. And we reminded people to, if you're not walking or running, make a donation or come out and cheer us on as people are walking and running. Because it's nice as you pass neighborhoods for people to be outside as well. And it's an exciting time. As you see, things are opening. Plant Haven is gearing up to be open. And I even saw on Facebook that they're going to have a reindeer there that people to take pictures with their family members. Yes, a live reindeer. But there's going to be a lot of different activities surrounding their opening. And as you see, the development going up and down the Olive Corridor, things are moving right along. So, and the parks, you know, it's my passion and my excitement, and I'm just so thrilled for the movement we've made on that. So, are there any questions? Thank you.
Hearing no questions, I will move on to the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. I think that they have been distributed. Does anybody have any corrections or updates to those? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 2022.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, those opposed. Okay, as we move along, the Five Oaks on Warson, and everyone remember that name. It's Five Oaks on Warson for the new community center, fees and programs. So Beverly, do you want to kick that off, please?
I do, and I would like to introduce Marvin Frumer. Marvin is our recreation program supervisor. We're going to be giving this presentation together. And Marvin, there's Marvin at the podium, so you can see Marvin there. And
Yes.
just bear with us. This is our first time doing a dual presentation from two separate locations. So, excuse me one second. Here we go. So this evening, we are here this evening, Marvin and myself, to give you an overview of the program progress so far ahead of opening Five Oaks on Warson. And we also have for you, we brought back the fees back from the city council. So it will go through the process so you can be up to date and have an understanding of everything we're doing. So just to give you a quick background, when the city embarked on building a new community center, we reaffirmed that we would use the same 5 principles that drove the parks master plan: connectivity, innovation, partnership, sustainability, and financial responsibility. So those 5 factors, coupled with our mission, are how we went about this process. So everything we've done, we keep those core tenets in mind, and then we also keep asking ourselves about our mission. And when we start looking at programming of the new center, it's a little bit of a chicken and an egg situation, because we're going into a brand new building we've never been in before. And not only that, it's program wise, it offers lots of opportunities that we did not have in our old center. So we will be embarking on offering expanded programming we've never had before. So rather than just moving programs that are already existing from an old center to a new center, this is an added layer of complexity. So what we are presenting to you this evening is, I know we say oftentimes it's a work in progress, but really it's almost like an organic living thing, because we know that as we open the center and people start signing up for things and taking things, we know that it's going to shift and evolve as we're constantly refining to figure out exactly what our residents want as we communicate with them more, have more interactions, and we stay on top of current trends and monitor how interests and different practices evolve. So we know that what we open with day one will probably not look exactly the same by month 3, let alone by year's end. So we do anticipate there'll be a lot of evolution there. But just to remind you that our mission is to create community through people, parks, and programs. And our vision is to enrich community members through active participation in lifelong learning, health and wellness, community involvement, and recreational activities. And I feel very strongly that the program that the staff have developed really meets that mission. So where are we in the process? So the Parks and Recreation Commission has a fee working group that's comprised of Commissioners Hoyerman, Lee, and Person, and then the Finance Director, Darren Mann, and myself. And this working group's been working since late last winter and early spring to develop the fees and memberships and rental fees. And they brought a presentation to the park. The park reviewed it more than once. It was discussed at park meetings. And then a proposal was sent to the city council, and then they studied that during the summer at a study session, and then they provided feedback. So the feedback they provided on those fees was brought back to the staff. The staff worked on responses for that. And then this evening, you'll now see they made very minor changes on those fees. You'll see that, but then you'll also see the membership and the programs that go behind that. So what people are getting for this money that we're charging. After tonight's review, it will go back to the city council and then they will do the first and second readings because the fees are actually part of the city ordinance. So they are passed as an ordinance and it takes 2 readings. So just to give you some quick definitions, you'll be hearing a lot of terms tonight. We're going to try not to make it too technical, but a resident is someone who lives or works within the city of Olivet municipal boundaries. A non-resident is anybody else. A family or a household. The terms are used interchangeably. So you will see both family and household. 2 adults and up to 3 children living within the same home. And then a household further to that, you'll see under you'll see another iteration of that. And there's also provision in there for families that do have more than 3 children. Then a VIP is new that you haven't heard that term yet. A VIP is a very important person. This is a program that has a student and then a caregiver with that student. So traditionally we think of that as, say, a mom, a dad, a grandparent, or a babysitter with a participant in a class. But now that can also be a participant in the class and their younger child has brought them to the class. So if it's someone who is aging in place at home and with family support and they are being brought to a program. So we didn't want to tie an age to that term because it's going to be used interchangeably. So it's just any class where there are 2 people there. So someone's supporting that other person. A youth is anyone under 18 years of age. And then we have 60 plus for anybody over 60. Then a Medicare program. This is a program that is a managed healthcare reimbursement. So for example, a lot of people have heard of Silver Sneakers. And that is where someone who has Medicare has signed up for additional components so that they have options to go to fitness centers or to go to health and wellness classes. And then wherever they go, that agency has an agreement with the insurance provider and they are reimbursed for the cost of that class. So you'll see a little bit about that. These are our current park and recreation facility rental fees. I'm not going to dwell on these. Everybody knows them. We're kind of moving on from that. These are the hourly rental rate recommendations. I'm going to stop here for a second. There are 2 primary adjustments that were made on here since the commission saw these fees. The first is the kitchen fees were raised. I believe they were $60 and they've gone up to $80 for resident. You can see that here. Excuse me, and $120 for non-resident. The council really felt that this is an improved space and it should cost more because the value of the items inside of it, the care it takes to clean it afterwards. So they felt strongly that that should be a higher rate. And I personally don't have a problem with that. I think that that was an excellent suggestion. But I want to hear from you when we get to the questions. We'll bring that back. And then the other item, they increased the damage deposit, which again, I think it's also a good idea. And I do think that the working group probably talked about that. And I can't remember now exactly where we went over that. But when we get to the question section, we can definitely discuss that and make sure everybody's comfortable with that. Membership rates. The membership rates are basically the same as what were presented. There were some clarifications made. So there is an additional dependent child of $25 for households that have more than the 3 dependents on it. They also, the 60 plus, we've changed to just determining it's just 2 people who live in the same household can qualify for that 60 plus household rate. And then the daily fees, however, went up on the adult and on the youth. So those look higher now. I think they went up by $1. Then this is, I apologize, incredibly hard to read. However, the main thing to know is that the new center will open at 5:30 in the morning and close at 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. On Saturdays and Sundays, it will be open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, within that, the majority of that time is really the fitness center. The main office will still operate from 8 to 5, But when the center is open, the welcome desk will also be open. So the welcome desk will also run from 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. That way, anyone coming into the building immediately is greeted by someone. They're not wandering around trying to figure out what's going on and where things are. Then, just as we have in the old center, activities and programs finish by 10 p.m. But that doesn't mean that the building isn't necessarily still have people in it, because the cleaning will go on. If someone's had a big major event and they start cleaning up at 9:30, then of course they can stay past 10 to keep that cleaning up, but no actual programs will go on past 10 o'clock. And then we have specific hours for some of these other areas, such as the playground, 7 to 7, gymnasium until 9 o'clock. But those are slightly flexible in that if someone were to have a major rental and they're renting the multipurpose room, and they're also renting the indoor playground, and they're also renting the kitchen and the gymnasium, then those areas will expand and contract based on what the special event rental is. I don't anticipate that'll happen very often, but it could be someone wants to have a really big event and they like our space, and we will facilitate and help that happen. Now, here is the first glimpse of our members' benefits. And this is still a work in progress. And when I say that, progress for two reasons. One, we are still figuring out how the operations and how the use policies will impact those operations in this new building. The further along we get in construction and the more time the staff spends walking through the spaces, it really helps us get a better understanding of what that flow will be for participants and for the public, general public coming in to use the lobby. So you'll see on the right-hand side in the yellow, we have a few things that are still under consideration. One of them is the walking trail, really figuring out how are people going to experience that trail in the building? Does it make sense for that to be 100% free? Or will we perhaps have some non-compliance and people using the trail and then going out and working out without having a fitness membership? So those are the internal discussions that the staff is still having. So that's why I say those aren't quite complete. The other thing that isn't quite complete is we definitely will have a partnership with Oasis. We've had that previously. We're bringing it back with the new center, but we still have yet to hammer out all the contractual agreements with that and how that exactly will work as far as payment and the actual classes. So that too is another one that it's still in development. So it's premature to put it on here. But for the most part, you can see, can everyone see this? Do I need to zoom in further?
Can see it.
You can see it? Okay, great. So for example, when you purchase a membership or when you purchase a day pass, you will have access to the facility, and that includes the fitness area, and it includes drop-in sports if you're going to play pickleball or shoot basketball hoops. You're going to go into the playground, use the changing suites, or if you need to borrow a special amenity, like maybe you need a hairdryer, and then the esports. So those are what the day pass will get you. The membership, of course, will get you all of the things in this column as well. And then there are some things that require a membership, but will still have a slightly higher fee. And that is, for example, personal training, esports. There may be special tournaments and you'll pay additional for that. And then the contract classes. So contract classes we offer right now, and we will continue to offer classes. And if you've paid to take a class, then you can come into the community center. You don't have to buy a day pass to come in to attend a class that's being sponsored by the city. Then we have a series of things that will remain, that are free now and will remain free. So the lobby, coming in to use the Wi-Fi, using the parents' room, reading the newspaper, or visiting the art gallery, our little free library, all of these things will remain free. And that ties back to when we had our meetings with our residents and we talked about what the expectations were for this center, we made that commitment at that time that similar to this, our center that we have now, things are free when you walk in and there are things that you have to pay for. So it's that similar bifurcated model that we currently have, we're carrying over into the new building. So this will we'll probably continue to add things as we work them out. So like, for example, well, you'll hear more about the Medicare reimbursement program when we get to that area, but those are the types of things that until we have those agreements and we don't know exactly how they're going to work yet. All right, now I'm going to turn it to Marvin.
Okay, so I'll start speaking on the organic living documents that we have for our schedule. You're looking at the project baseline, which is basically what we set all our programming for. So we're trying to be inclusive. We did a lot of homework on bringing the schedule together. We visited a lot of rec centers in the area. We went to Maryland Heights, we went to DePere, we went to Bridgeton, we went to Ferguson, we went to Sunset Hills, just to make sure that we were doing this right, or, the best way that we can do it. So we gathered a lot of information, and all of our programs are pretty much structured on that primary audience that you're looking at right now. So go to the next. Go to the next slide. Okay, so what you're looking at, I know it's very tiny, you might have to blow that up, but everything is pretty much, okay. But everything is pretty much set up based on that primary baseline that you see. So there's adult programs, there's 60+ programs, youth programs, teen programs, VIP programs. And like I said, what we wanted to do was, of course, line ourselves up with the mission that we have in our department, which is to enrich the community members through active participation in long life learning, health, wellness, community involvement, and recreational programs. But not only that, but we wanted to make sure that everything was inclusive, that our seniors would not only have the opportunity to do fitness programs, but they're also involved in cooking. If they wanted to do esports, there'll be time for them to use esports. So we wanted to make sure that everything was inclusive for all age groups and every category that's up there. Then we wanted to make sure also that the time blocks made sense for those specific age groups. We know the seniors are not out late at night. So there's not a lot of senior activities near that, late in the evening. They're all basically in the morning when they have their free time. So we wanted to make sure that those time blocks made sense along with the programming. And then there's variety. As you can see, there's colors all over in each program area. And we did that with the purpose of making sure that everyone had a chance to take part in the programs that we're offering in the facility. Yeah, I can't really see. If you have questions about any of those programs up there, I can answer those questions, but it's pretty much spread out. Like I said, there's adult fitness programs. There's a variety of cooking programs. We're doing youth cooking. We're doing family cooking. There's budget cooking. We're partnering with a lot of organizations. Operation Food Search is also one of those that'll be coming in to work with us with our kitchen related activities. And of course, we talked about Silver Sneakers. We talked about Renew Active for the senior programs. We have some ongoing classes that are going on right now. And then we wanted to add to our indoor playground. So we have story time. We have St. Louis County Library that'll be partnering with us to provide not only programs for the library, but also that'll have different books and activities going on in our lobby area. So there's a lot of different things going on in those different areas. Esports we're working on. And if you're not familiar with that, that's electronic gaming. There's a big community of electronic gamers going on. So we visited St. Louis Science Center. They have a huge esports community there. And we're going to be working with them to not only help us with programming, but again, to possibly hold some tournaments in the esports lounge and in our multi-purpose room. So there's a lot of ideas for different programs. And like she said, there's going to be changes to this, I'm pretty sure, because our target audience, we really don't have them in, we know who we have the group set up, but once people start coming into the building, we'll have to make adjustments.
Right,
So
right.
that's pretty much the meat of what we have. We will add more to it as we go along, as we have further meetings about that program schedule.
Marvin, a question. I notice in this that there are pluses and asterisks and tildes after a lot of these activities. What do those signify in this chart?
That I'm not sure.
Oh, I know. Sorry.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't put that cue on there. I wasn't sure anybody would see those. So those are codes for the staff that indicate whether something is part of the baseline membership, whether it has an extra fee, or if there's a prerequisite. There's all sorts of different codes that go in the back end of programming.
So so is an asterisk an additional fee?
I don't know, because I don't want to speak to that because I don't have the legend up there. There's
Okay.
a key that goes with it that I didn't include, so I apologize for that.
Then also, what is Les Mills?
Okay, Les Mills is, and I actually have that as a slide.
Yeah, we have that as. a
We'll
slide.
get to, so
Okay,
we'll get to
okay.
that.
I'm, I
Yeah.
don't-
Yeah.
other question?
The one thing I want to share is this is our draft program. So what that means is this is a layout that shows that we have allocated time for all of these target audience groups. But you'll notice there is white space in there because we're allowing space for growth. And there are titles in there, but until we actually lock in a signed contract with an instructor, that title may change. So this is the starting point for the staff to really shake the trees and get the instructors, and you'll see some changes as we go along, but this shows you what they're targeting for, because we want to open with programs. We don't want to open and then slowly add programs. We want to start out on a strong note with things for people to select from. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll all be full, but we really want to have things available and up and running as soon as possible.
Bill, I think you had a
I
question.
do, and I really appreciate and like all the variety we have. I'm curious about in the gymnasium. Across the board from 9 to noon is pickleball, and then 3 to 6 basketball. Is there a reason why there isn't some variety there of basketball sometime in the morning and pickleball in the afternoon? Or is pickleball people just play in the morning and basketball people generally play in the afternoon?
Well, what I thought behind that was seniors dominate pickleball in most of the facilities that we went to. And so that was kind of like the ideal time across the board for pickleball. So we just decided to put it there. And then basketball with our thinking on that was after school, because you get a lot of the high schoolers and a lot of the middle schoolers, elementary school age kids that'll be there after school. And we couldn't cross the two because you can't have the seniors in there, during the time that we're basketball. So there will be some adjustments, but we definitely want to keep pickleball early.
Okay.
And that was like the norm, with every city, and that seemed to be the popular time for seniors
Okay,
for
and
pickleball.
I know we did the tour, but I don't quite remember. We can't have pickleball. Sorry, I'm gotta talk to the mic. Sorry, I'm looking at you and looking over here. We can't have pickleball and basketball at the same time because of the layout of the gym. Is that correct?
With the layout of the gym, I don't think that would be a good thing
Okay.
to have pickleball and basketball going on at the same time. And that's part of the reason why we separated those two like that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions? Okay,
You can go to the next.
go, you want to continue?
So I'm waiting for her to go to the next.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oops, hang on, it's coming. There we go.
Okay, so we talked about developing partnerships that we have, and one of them is Oasis. If you're not familiar with it, it's a senior enrichment program. It's been around for about 40 years. And they start at age, they changed it actually. They're taking 55 is the age that they start with Oasis, but they're going a little lower than that now. So they're accepting 50-year-olds in Oasis. The pillars, of course, are lifelong learning classes, exercise and wellness programs, and then volunteer engagement opportunities. So they have a wide variety of different programmings, including walking, exercise, arts and crafts, healthy habits, and a lot of different things. So we're talking to them. They're going to do an open house for us when we open the facility. We should be getting catalogs from them very soon that we're going to share with everyone so you can see the depth of programs that they have. And then we'll be looking for feedback so we can incorporate those programs into the new facility when we open up. We can go to the next slide.
Yeah. Very quick, I just want to add, one of the wonderful things about Oasis is, as I mentioned, they were in our facilities prior to the pandemic. And because they have a robust program in the region, they already have a lot of Olivet residents. So in terms of directing people into our facility, they will be a fantastic partner. So I'm very excited about this.
Do we get any compensation for facility use from Oasis?
Yeah, that's actually what we're negotiating with them, because people register for these programs, but each city does their own agreement with Oasis. So our hope is that we would have a some sort of a stipend they pay towards the rooms. And then it's of benefit to us to get people into the building, particularly when we're starting out. So we may start out with an introductory agreement with them, and that was good for a year, and then reevaluate it and then see if it needs to change at all.
Those kind of agreements that you're making with the partners, do they come through the commission to the council, or is that something that staff handles?
That's something that staff handles that, but we do it in review with city administration and the city attorney.
Okay, there we go with Les Mills. So Les Mills is an international fitness organization. It offers fitness programs in a group dynamic, and they also do individualized streaming. They have individualized streaming access if you need to do workouts from home. So there's a lot of different components to it. They have 21 different fitness programs. They're in 100 countries. So they're pretty popular, Les Mills. Some of the areas they target is strength, cardio, cycling, dance, flexibility, and kids workouts. And then they offer a variety of intensities. So there are beginners to advanced levels that you can use with Les Mills. A lot of the fitness gyms around here have Les Mills, and then there's also municipalities that have Les Mills also. They were very popular during the pandemic because a lot of people didn't want to go to the gyms. So Les Mills definitely stood out during that time. And then they're still working with a lot of organizations because people, are still not comfortable with going to the gym. But group fitness, they also offer that. We're looking at more of an in-person program, having an instructor come to us. And that's because, we want them to be able to assess the people who are working out. You don't get that same capability online, so if I'm doing something wrong online, there's no one there to say, hey, your posture is wrong, you're not doing this right. Whereas in person, you get that directly, with that instructor. So we wanted to definitely look at having an in-person instructor. We're also looking at Wellbeats. It's another similar type fitness program. I don't believe Wellbeats does in person. They're virtual. So we're looking at both of them. Me and Don have actually met with Les Mills representative via Zoom probably 4 or 5 times to just talk about different things and raise questions that we'll have for the new facility. So we're still looking at those two right now. Okay.
Okay.
And then we talked about, of course, Silver Sneakers and Renew Active. There's a couple of more on there. I am familiar with Silver Sneakers and Renew Active. And those, of course, are Medicare reimbursement programs. So anyone that has Medicare, I believe it's, I have information here, it's Advantage Part C plans. You go through your Medicare agent and you ask for that plan to add Silver Sneakers, and you get it at no cost. So once you get your Silver Sneakers form filled out, they give you an ID card. Then they give you a list of participating recreation center or facilities that accept it, and you're able to go to those facilities, or you can do it online. So you have that option. And Silver Sneakers and Renew Active is very huge in these recreation center. Every recreation center that we went to had one or the other or both. So seniors are definitely taking advantage of Silver Sneakers. I know with Silver Sneakers, you have to be 65 to qualify for that. And then, like I said, once you fill out your application, get your ID, then you basically can come in and use Silver Sneakers at the facilities that are listed. Did a little research on Renew Active and Silver Sneakers. And for this area within 10 miles, there's 31 Silver Sneakers facilities, and I believe 75 Renew Active facilities. So there's a lot of choices around here, but as long as we have it, it's a good resource because people want, the comfort to come in their neighborhood and use the facilities that are in their neighborhood. So us having it would be a big plus to the community to have Silver Sneakers or either Renew Active with it.
Mhm.
Question?
Yes,
So does that mean they get access to the whole facility or just the fitness facility?
they get access to fitness. Yes.
So there's a reduced rate to join
To join,
the membership of Elevate membership, or is that rate reduced?
I can answer that. I can answer that. So there are, Sue, there are two different tracks that they offer. Taking classes or using the fitness. So Senior Fit, PHIT, that one oftentimes is reimbursing the membership of the fitness area. Whereas Silver Sneakers, oftentimes it's the actual going to the class. They are incredibly complex, and they are not managed by Medicare. They're managed by private insurance companies. So it is not guaranteed that we will have them. They use a geographical formula as well as many other criteria that they will not share with us on how they decide whether a center will be allowed to participate or not. And then they set the fee that they pay you for that person coming. So we may have, a set fee, and they will determine what they will reimburse us for someone taking that class. So it's a double-edged sword. It's wonderful to have, and our residents really want it. We heard a lot about it when we did our focus groups and our public meetings, so people have the expectation it'll be there. But it will be a little bit of a loss leader for us in certain situations. Marvin has started the application process for us with Silver Seekers and with Renew Active, but we do not know where we are in the pipe. So all of you that have dealt with insurance agencies, you probably have a good understanding of what we're dealing with. I think it's fair to say it's an opaque process.
I think that was the last slide for me, but
Okay.
I will say is that we're working hard on this. It requires all of our staff, our recreation department, and then also our sports department. Everyone is involved in this. So we're having meetings 3 or 4 times a week just to go over the schedule, plug in new ideas, move things around, have more discussions. So like I said, it is a organic living thing that we're working with. So we want your feedback, on these things so we can make the adjustments and make this, as nice as possible for the residents when we do open up. So if you could please just let us know. Like I said, we're going to provide you with those catalogs from Oasis because senior programming is definitely high priority because across all of the rec centers that we went to, those are the most consistent members. So we definitely want to take care of them, not saying that we don't want to take care of everybody else, but we're definitely
Yeah.
putting them up high priority. So if you can help us with those, help us as far as giving us feedback, sending questions to me, we'll do all we can to make sure that, we make it work, we make it exciting for our residents when we open up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to reiterate that if there's something that someone in your family has taken at another rec center and you really like it, please let us know. We will go after it. Marvin will track down that instructor and drag them to all of that. So we definitely want to hear, everybody's favorites. And if you took someone you hated, we want to hear that too.
Marvin, Beverly, this is an amazing start. I think it's an incredible beginning to this. It's a great kickoff to
Thank you.
the whole
Thank
Five
you.
Oaks plan. So congratulations to you, or plaudits. So
Thank
you.
felicitative. Well done. All right, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
definitely pass that on to the staff.
Well done. Yep.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you a little heads up about future tasks that are coming down the pike before we get to tonight's core questions. So right now, the fee working group is going to reconvene because we still have to nail down the free use policy. And then that'll come to the park and then go to the council. Then holiday schedule. So the staff in their tours around the other centers, they found out what do people do during holidays, what's your coverage. And then we also got the holiday schedule from the JCC. So they will be drafting out how we will handle holidays, what will be offered, what won't be offered. And then we'll bring that to you. Also, just think also it's also dependent on staff too. So if we have to make sure we have staff available to have holiday hours. But we want to make sure that the commission vets that and everybody is kind of aware of what we're doing when with the scheduling. And then in the new year, we'll be coming back with differential pricing. So that'll be some of those incentives and different things that we do with some of the other programs that off of the membership. So
Beverly,
yes.
what is the ask of the commission tonight?
Well, that's your next slide. So
Okay.
here we go. So right now we want to open it up to questions on anything we've covered. Going over that, we wanted an opportunity for everybody to ask questions. But then tonight's decision that we need is we need a recommendation that confirms those adjusted fees from the council for us to take back to them. And if you have, if you want to make modifications on that, then I will record that and also present that to the council. I'd like them to do the first reading on the 29th.
Our meeting on the 29th is going to be a work session. Our meeting on the 29th is going to be a work session.
Well, then it can't be then. Okay, so then I guess it'll be the
Our
13th.
first
So,
reading, the first reading would be on December 13th.
so Maxine, okay, so that got changed. All right, so I
right.
apologize. I've been out of the office for a week. So are there 2 meetings in December, Maxine? Or only one?
Currently there are, but I don't know what will happen with the second one.
Okay, so the first reading then will be on the 13th of December. And then the second reading will either be the second meeting of December
Could be.
or the first meeting in January.
Which would be December 27th.
Okay,
So Beverly, the question, when you say to affirm what the council changed, from what I saw from the presentation, the council changed the charges for the kitchen and for the damage deposit were the 2 things that were not. Is that the ask
that is the
to
ask,
affirm
but
that, or are we talking?
to affirm that, and then also to affirm what the membership includes. If you don't have to go through the details of it, but if you are comfortable with tonight's presentation, because this is the same presentation that will go to the council. And then the council also upped the drop-in fee by $1 for the day use pass. And I can go back to those pages if that's helpful.
Beverly Maxine wants to.
I thought, I'm gonna say that they're looking at the entire document. The council made 2 recommendations of change, but if they approve it tonight, they're approving the entire document to come back to the council.
Well, yeah, well, this whole presentation is going to the council. That is correct. But the main thing that has to be voted on are those fees. The fees are what we actually need to vote on, but you can vote to approve the fees as they are. You can also, because I really want it to be meaningful, if you want to look at in more detail on what the membership includes for what we've made those decisions on. If there's anything that the commission is uncomfortable with there, then this is the time to talk about it.
Okay, Beverly, can we go back in
Yes,
the presentation and let's go through step by step what, where you
Okay.
started up there with
so we're gonna
the,
start here with our hourly. And I'm not sure how I can make this go. You're seeing my
no,
whole thing,
I
right?
mean, I think we're fine. I can see that.
Okay,
And
can
so
see it? Okay,
I
great.
guess the question at this point is those hourly rates came from where?
so the hourly rates the commission approved and sent to the council. The council reviewed them at the study session. During their study session, they increased the damage deposit and they increased the hourly rate for the kitchen. Everything else were the fees that the park commission sent to them.
Okay,
So I have a question, a couple of them actually. With regards to the damage deposit, that is attributed to any of the room usage or just the small, large and full multi-purpose rooms?
It's anytime you actually rent the facility to host an event, you pay a damage deposit.
So if you pay $40 to rent the studio, you pay $350 in a damage deposit?
You do. And that is our current policy that we have right now. So if you rent a single $30 room from us, you pay the $225 security deposit. That's our current policy, and it'll be the same in the new building. And the reason for that is, for example, in the old community center, when a window broke, it was $650 to replace it. And you can see our old damage deposit did not cover that. So in the new building, things that break, and even in the studio, there are very expensive things in there. And one ball, one thing hitting the flat screen or something could cause a significant amount of damage. So that's why we do that. But we do refund it back the very next day. Peyton's able to do that with our software.
Okay, so then I had an additional question with regards to the kitchen.
Yes.
What is the equipment that will be in the kitchen? Is it commercial kitchen equipment? Is it just regular kitchen equipment?
It's a hybrid. So the stove and the fridges and our commercial grade. We will have some mixers and food processors and things like that. We still have not determined when you rent that kitchen, what you're going to be allowed to use. So for example, if you're coming in to cater, a caterer coming in is going to use our surfaces, and they'll probably use the prep sinks in the back and things like that. But the caterers have to have their food already made when they come in. If someone's renting the kitchen for an event, then we will have a very detailed conversation with them on what they're actually using it for. And food preparation items most likely will not be included in that kitchen rental. So this is not a commercial kitchen rental space. It's not a commercial kitchen. It's not a food prep kitchen. It's a teaching kitchen and a catering kitchen. So like, for example, we will have mixers for our classes, but those mixes will not be available if someone just comes and rents that space.
How will that, are they going to be locked somewhere else?
Oh yeah, every cabinet has a lock in there.
So the other question I had was with regards to the kitchen and supervision. So is there supervision, or is it just the staff that's working at the time that will be supervising those who are renting the kitchen?
We have facility attendants that will come in specifically for rentals. So we have welcome desk attendants, we have fitness attendants, we have playground attendants, and we have facility attendants that are specifically for rentals. So if you have rented, let's say you're gonna have a rehearsal dinner in the multipurpose rooms. The caterer comes in and is greeted by that facility attendant, who then takes them through the building and the orientation. Whoever rented it, they walk through with a we do a pre-inspection, and this is something we do right now with our current facility. Pre-inspection, the room looks okay, and then the facility attendant is there the entire time and monitors, goes into the rooms during the events, monitors the front, and then when it's time to clean up, same process, goes through, make sure people know where things are for, sweeping up and for the trash and things like that. And then it's signed off at the end that everything has met the criteria. Then in addition to that, if the group goes overtime, then they have a choice. They can forfeit their part of their damage deposit right then in order to extend their party, because oftentimes people do not plan enough time for their setup and their cleanup. So there are times that that damage deposit actually covers the cost of them staying a little bit longer, because they've underestimated how much of the time it would take them to do what their event is.
Okay, I was gonna suggest with the kitchen that there be a additional cleaning fee. So I don't know if those rates, if that raises the entire rate, or if it just built in for the kitchen, because that's a different level. It's not damage. But I mean,
Right.
if you don't clean up behind yourself in the kitchen,
Yeah.
staff
Yeah.
can be spending hours, and I only have these kitchen questions because I run a kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. But
you
the
can
fact that we're not doing.
Time cleaning up the
Yeah.
kitchen,
Yeah.
behind somebody, or
Right, right.
fishing,
The-
you
yeah.
know, where it's not supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I would
So
just.
having an additional layer that helps us is we're going to have a preferred caterer list. So the caterers will clean up after themselves. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about people that, but more so people that are in our own classes, our own instructors. I think that's our bigger issue of things getting cleaned up in time. If someone's rented the kitchen because they're going to have like a wine tasting, I'm not concerned about the cleanup. But if, and because we're not going to rent it for someone to actually have a cooking class, the cooking classes have to come through us. So I understand there is a greater cost for the kitchen, but that's one of the reasons we raised with the discussion with the council, we raised that.
Well, my suggestion is that I don't think you raised it high enough, is
Okay.
what I'm trying to say.
So you think the baseline, or do you think we should have a different damage deposit for the kitchen?
I'm not saying it's a damage deposit. I'm saying that there should be a separate cleanup rate tied specifically to
Okay.
the kitchen.
Okay,
Or you
okay.
need to raise the
I think-
entire rate of the kitchen to
Yeah,
include.
that's a great suggestion, and we wouldn't have to address it here necessarily, because we'll address it once we have the contract cleaning
But I
service.
thought you said you would
engaged.
take your recommendations back to the council, or either I'm confused.
Yeah, and I'll take that recommendation to them and say that that's something that staff will look into, absolutely. But it doesn't have to be codified in the city laws.
But could we also say that the kitchen, as you look at that's part of the evolutionary process that you've referred to tonight, that you may come back to the commission and to the council to make recommendations for changes, that as you get to be
Yeah,
more
yeah, absolutely. I
aware
mean,
of
if we
what's happening
yeah.
with it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
We
agree.
can always reopen it back up. I think,
I would like to be very clear on what I'm saying. I am saying I recommend that we raise the rate to include a cleaning fee. And you said that these were things we had to vote on. You were going to take adjustments or any of our suggestions back to the council. That is what my suggestion is. Not as we go through the process and learn who's coming in and out of the facility. I'm saying we do it now so that you don't have to adjust that later, because that will be a concern.
So Keisha, are you saying for the kitchen, do you want to say and cleaning fee, or do you want it to be like residents are 120 and then non-residents are 160. You want to build in an hour of cleaning?
That's exactly what I'm saying. If either you're gonna add it as a cleaning fee, and I don't know if it needs to be that high. It could be $100 and $130 or $150, but I think that it either needs to be built into the price or there needs to be a separate fee for the kitchen. Period, however you want to roll it.
Yeah. So Keisha, I hear what you're saying. I agree, a separate cleaning fee is a great idea. My hesitancy is we don't have the cleaning contract, so I don't know how much the cleaners are gonna cost. So I would like to address that fee when those contracts are signed, so that we know the hourly rate we're getting charged. Because it won't be the facility attendant cleaning, it'll be that contract cleaning company coming in and cleaning. So I'd like it to be whatever that fee is, I'd like it to cover that. So I'm
So-
hesitant to set a fee now.
But if
and
it's not
But
built
that-
in now, it doesn't matter. You're still gonna have to raise it.
But Bev, can't you just say it's this
And
rate plus one? It's this rate plus 1 hour of cleaning and whatever that rate ends up being?
That's what I say, put a double asterisk there. And then that way, whatever the rate is, whatever the contract we have is, it can raise or lower based on that, and we don't have to put it here. It can adjust based on the contract.
Word the
I'm comfortable with
recommendations
that.
reflect
Keisha,
the
are you
contract.
comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Rob, I missed what you were saying.
Word the recommendations so that it reflects, you know, the relative cost of the cleaning contract for an hour or two versus trying to put a number there.
Call a cleaning rate, market rate.
That's good recommendation. Yep. 1 hour of market rate cleaning services will apply. Yeah. And I agree with Keisha. I think it ought to be a separate line item versus included in the rate, so that if you don't clean up, you're going to get hit with, you will get charged this cleaning rate.
So you're saying it's just a fixed cost?
Right, it's an additional cost that could be incurred if you don't clean up after yourself in the kitchen. So that people who do clean up don't feel like they're paying for something they don't need.
And
You had made a comment. Is this what you meant?
Who?
You had made a comment. Is this what you meant?
Yeah, that was my comment, was leave the rate the way it is. And I don't know that I want to have a subjective decision, but if you want to add a cleaning fee, that you just put a 1 hour cleaning fee, and then whatever that 1 hour going rate is the rate. So you could adjust that on a sliding scale over time too, without saying it's $120, where it might be $40 this month, and 2 months later it might go up, it might go down, depending on your cleaning contract. Right?
Yeah.
That's an adjustable scale.
And that would not be unlike an Airbnb where you have
Yeah.
a rental
a-
rate and then you've got a cleaning fee.
Right.
Is that what we're?
And that way, if Bev negotiates a better cleaning fee, or, more or less, it's easily adjustable without having to go back to the council. Maxine, would that avoid going back to the council for approval?
It has to go back to the council to be voted on and to be accepted.
Yeah, but I'm saying if there's a sliding scale, would that just,
The add-on cleaning fee doesn't have to go back to the council. The council will approve the contract cleaner.
What we're looking to approve is a document such as this of the hourly rental rate recommendation. So we're not gonna, that kind of thing would be a no-brainer.
So Keisha, are we reflecting, is this conversation reflecting what you were recommending?
Yes.
Okay, and Keisha, can you see the extra note I put on here?
Yes,
Okay, and is that satisfactory?
yes.
Okay.
But I think
Very
what
good.
Sue was saying, it should be at an hourly rate. So 1 hour, I mean, I think you just need to determine what that contract cleaner rate would be.
Okay,
Is it 1 hour, is it 2 hours? I don't know.
And my, I guess
Well-
I guess my question on that would also be, if somebody's a neatnik and cleans it up, are they subject to the fee as well?
well, that's where we have our checklist for. So we go through a checklist
Okay.
that's predetermined. And when the people reserve the room, we show them that checklist. So we've already made adjustments to what we do because we weren't doing the checklist. But we're starting it now. So what's great is we are now renting the community rooms at the city center on a very limited basis for very limited activities. And we're going to be able to try out some of these new things on those rooms, like the checklists and things like that. So it's a great opportunity for us to practice before we get into this new space. Because no one wants to mess up the city center community rooms, that's for sure.
Okay, Travis, did you have a comment?
Yeah, my question is, it looks like we've increased the damage deposit considerably from where it's currently at. And I was just curious for a little bit of background and how frequent we're blowing through damage deposits in our current environment and why, like, just a background story on why the need to increase the deposit.
Yeah, well, that window is certainly one. When I started here, I think the damage deposit was like $100. And it's gone up quite a bit. Things cost a lot of money. And it is very hard to get money out of people after they've damaged something. So for example, when the window was broken at the old community center, we only got the damage deposit. We sent letters. They said, they sent some dunning notices, but we didn't get the money. So now we've changed our policies. One thing, we have a higher damage deposit, and now we have credit cards. When before, people used to pay with checks or with cash. So we have bigger guns now to go after people, but it doesn't, to your point, it doesn't happen that often, but at least once a year. Now in the new center, we anticipate having increased rentals and increased interest. So potentially it could happen more. We're also going to have a building that is not incredibly old and was not built as a school. This is a nicer building with nicer finishes. It has very nice lighting systems and HVAC systems and audio-visual systems that all costed a significant amount of money and will be used by people at these rentals. And when people have rentals, they do not care for things the way they would in their own home. So it is important to have damage deposits. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with having a damage deposit. I just, to Keisha's point, that popped in my head when you went through this the first time is, somebody going to rent something for $50 and needing $400 in the account to make it happen. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else feels kind of a certain way about that, but that certainly jumped off the page of me. So
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it does speak to the equity piece that we're trying to create and making this accessible to everyone. The increase jumped out to me too. So I don't know if the council can be, get our feelings on that. I also think that there is a cost to doing business. So sometimes things are gonna break. And if we have the deposit, where it was, I think it was a 220. I think it makes a difference in who actually is going to be renting facilities based upon just the finance piece alone.
Stacey, did you have a comment?
I had a couple of questions and maybe because I'm late to the game, but transportation to the facilities, do we have that adequate for people to get access to come? And then my other question was scholarships. I saw the fees to join memberships, but I didn't see if there were scholarships or waivers or anything of that nature.
We have a fee waiver program in place now, and it's something the commission has talked about. Until we get the fees set, we can't start working on that fee waiver program, but it definitely is something we have, and we intend to move forward and still offer it.
Okay, question with the
And the
transportation.
transportation, we're on a major bus route that goes up Worson Road. And there is a bus stop. Right now, there's a bus stop for people to get to the current community center, and I believe Marvin. I can't remember, someone actually talked to the bus company. I can't remember if it was Marvin or Don. Can one of you answer that?
Well, I haven't talked to the bus company, but we
Okay.
have been talking to Purdue Schools. You know, we're trying to partner with them on a lot of different things. So that will be raised as possibly having a bus stop. I know we had a couple of bus stops at the old community center. So I think it's just a matter of communicating with them and seeing what's possible, you know, for us.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the amount of the damage deposit could potentially be a barrier, particularly for the lower level rentals. I think that I need to look at another model. I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. If someone else has like a sliding damage deposit based on the duration or based on the type of event, I don't want to go down a slippery slope of charging a higher rate for a specific type of event. But if it's a small room and it's a small attendance, then it's a very different situation than someone that's having a wedding reception with alcohol and 150 guests. So I do see that there potentially could be a different level in damage deposit, but it is a little tricky, and I'd kind of want to see how other cities are implementing it.
I was gonna say, how does that compare to the market?
We'd have to do an analysis. We collected damage deposits from the other cities when we did our fee analysis in the working group, but I don't think we asked if anybody was doing a sliding damage deposit. And so definitely do some research on that. And it looks like if next Tuesday is a study session instead of a work session, then that gives us a week to before we have to have the report done.
So
Or 2 weeks.
I had a question. Is this like a hotel? Like you go to the hotel and they run your card and they hold on to it? Or they just put a hold on your account for that? Or is this going to be something like, oh, they're making the reservation 6 months or a year in advance, you're going to actually run the 350? You know, because like
So we don't do a.
when you go to a hotel, that will say, okay, we're going
Yeah,
to hold,
right.
run it, we're going to hold your card for damages or for this or that, for extra fees. Is it that scenario, or is this something where people have to pay it up front months in advance?
People have to pay it up front months in advance. Our financial software and our financial policies don't allow us to do the hold.
And studio, that's not really a setup. Isn't that just like people would rent it to come in and do a yoga or some kind of a meditation group or?
Well, maybe not, because we don't really have classrooms the way we did in our old facility. So it could be that someone is renting it for something other than yoga. I don't know. We don't know yet. And it's got a durable floor, so it can have tables and chairs on it.
Right, that's what
So,
that was
yeah.
my question. Okay,
right.
thank-
Because we only really have 3 rooms. We've got the 2 sides of the multi-purpose room, the big side and the little side, and we have the studio, and that's it. So depending on what you're doing, it may be that you're in the studio in something that's not a dance or fitness.
Other comments on or questions on the hourly rental rate on this? Yeah.
One question, and I completely agree about having and it's going back to the kitchen item, even though that's simmered down a little bit. I completely agree about having it. I guess what I'm not quite comfortable with is saying 1 hour. If somebody goes in, and I don't know why I'm envisioning taking a bag of flour and just spewing it all over, which nothing is damaged, but it's hours and hours of cleanup. if there's a way, not necessarily here, but to say that they're gonna be charged for that cleanup time, not just an hour, but then we shouldn't be charged. I just don't want everybody to think, oh, it's an hour no matter what it is for cleanup. And that verbiage
Well,
doesn't have to be here, but it needs to be somewhere.
Yeah, so to that, to address that, we are not going to rent the kitchen out for cooking classes. Cooking classes are only sponsored by the city, and then in that case, we would not. We would not be charging a damage deposit for our own class.
So I guess I'm confused then. Is the kitchen available? So for instance, if I want to do a party and I want to prepare food in the kitchen, can I do that? So
No,
I take a room, I get a multipurpose room and I invite 20 of my friends to do a food event of some sort. Will I be able to do that?
no.
Why not?
The kitchen, for food prep in the kitchen, it'll be an organized class by the department. If someone's having a party and serving food, they'll have it, it'll be catered. We have a tiered catering system with different levels with a preferred caterer. The kitchen is not designed for individuals to come in and prepare their own food there.
In a group setting, they cannot do that on their own?
No. If you had the things prepared, like say you were doing like a taco bar and you're bringing it, it's already all cooked and prepared and people are making their own tacos, sure, you could do that. But you couldn't saute the beef there for your tacos.
So am I essentially acting as my own caterer then?
Well, if there's, so the catering means that you're bringing in food that's prepared somewhere else. The kitchen is not designed for someone to come in and cook. So let's say you had a party in there, the caterer is bringing everything that's been prepared off site and then they're plating it and serving it, or they're servicing a buffet. It is not a prep kitchen. It is a catered kitchen, which means the food is prepared off site.
But they can warm the food on site.
We don't have warming ovens and tables. They have
So
to
you don't
bring,
have a stove or oven?
there's a stove and there is an oven, but it's not designed like where you slide in the trays for the warming. So they're
No,
like,
I'm just saying like a regular oven, like you can put a aluminum pan full of chicken in the oven that's already cooked to warm it. You're saying you can't do that?
well, I can't answer that specifically because.
I think
don't have-
if you can't do that, I don't know why we're renting the kitchen.
Yeah.
What would be the purpose? What would you rent it?
So let me back up. I'm saying that without reading the health code, I can't tell you right now. So I am very familiar with caterers bring in roll in their carts, they're at temperature and they're monitoring the temperature. They're coming in the insulated containers. And I do know that in a catering kitchen, caterers can put things in the oven,
Mhm.
but to what types of food, I cannot tell you. It really comes down to what the health department codes are.
Food,
Can make me,
it doesn't, there's no specification to what can be heated.
may I make a suggestion that we table this and that we come back with? Sounds to me like we don't have a real clear idea of what can be done or what can't be done in the kitchen. So I think that's for a future meeting, and I think that's kind of beyond on the scope for this evening anyway. So can we table that whole kitchen conversation? Because I really think that we need to come up with some more specific guidelines and have a more a fact-based approach to what we're doing so that staff can interpret that to the community, because I think I've got a different view of what that kitchen's about. And so I think we need to look at that. So I would say that we could keep where I'm gonna my thought is that we could recommend where the hourly rate, because I don't think that would change very much at all, but I think use guidelines need to be really clarified.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And again, use guidelines can change. So I absolutely take that as a recommendation for us to come back with use policies for the kitchen.
Does that need to? It seems to me that might be a working group. Should that
Well-
come back to the fee group, or should there be sort of an operational review?
Operations are at staff purview.
No, I understand
yeah,
that. but
yeah, so-
Okay, a policy review.
Yeah, so we can do a policy review. We can come in and share things, and we can take the desires of the commission back. Absolutely.
No,
My bigger concern right here is the investigating the tiered pricing for the damage deposit. That needs to be the working group. Is there a chance the working group could meet between now and, let me look at the date. I have to have this submitted.
Are you suggesting that be a separate working group from the fee group, or?
No, the fee group is the one who needs to investigate tiered pricing. So I have to have the report done and ready by December 8th. So I'm looking at Keisha, Rob, and Jim. Would you be available to meet maybe the week after Thanksgiving?
Sure.
Would be available.
Okay.
I need
Is
to
there
check.
a,
Fine.
is there a blackout date? Or how about I'll send an email out and we'll figure out I'll send out a doodle.
Okay,
We're in town, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send out a doodle for the week of November 28th.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll talk about, in the meantime, then we'll be able to gather damage deposit policies from other cities to have at that meeting. Okay. All right.
So as for action tonight, as a recommendation, it seems to me that we need, I don't know whether we have to call a special meeting or we do a
No,
Zoom.
you don't. You can approve these fees and you can say in there that you recommend, in addition to the fees, you recommend an add-on. And you can change this writing right now. It doesn't have to be what I have here. Add on 1 hour cleaning fee based on contract cleaner rate. And then I will also say we'll have it done before the meeting with the council, but you can say that the commission is interested in offering a tiered pricing for the damage deposit to meet the to better reflect the size and the complexity of the events.
So a question for Maxine, is that what the council is expecting from us? Okay.
I
Okay,
believe that would be fine.
now also, if you can flip, we'll keep this in mind. If you can flip to the next page, because I think that's also part of this.
But
Yes,
before you, I thought
But
would,
before we leave the
Okay,
subject, just very
okay,
quickly,
Maxine's.
that third sentence, right where you're highlighting right now, how you added to that, Bev, I thought that was good. Where you said
Okay.
to reflect the size of the room and whatever of the event. I forgot what the words were you used.
I can't spell. I'm sorry, I'm typing on top of a box.
you're doing great.
Okay, so I highlighted this because whatever the damage deposit, so let's say that the damage deposit is $350 if you have a multi-hour large event in the multi-purpose room. If there's a lower damage deposit for the small multi-purpose room, if there's a lower damage deposit there of like $100, that $100 has to be voted on by council. This add-on cleaning fee based on contract cleaner rate, this does not have to be approved by council. It can just be as it is now. stated here that this would happen, that's a policy, that's a practice we would bring in. So this one does need to be, the council would need to vote on this. You don't have to vote on it tonight. You can, Maxine, I believe that if the commission votes on this, they can, approve it with a recommendation of the actual rate coming from the working group presented to the council. I don't think if you are approving tonight, 350 is the highest it's going to be, with the understanding there's going to be some sort of lower damage deposit. I don't think that has to go back to the commission. Is that correct?
That makes sense to me. I mean, anything, if we've approved 350, then if it's something lower than that, we wouldn't have to approve it again.
But,
Right.
but
It's up to this commission. Do they want it to back to them before you bring it to us?
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's also a chance with the holidays, if we don't have a quorum on the 27th, we'll have a first reading in early December, and you're gonna meet the next week, so I don't know if you just wanna hold this off for January. Or is that part of your timeline and you don't wanna?
Well, the timeline, I thought the timeline was set by this, I thought the city manager and the mayor, so it doesn't sound like, I thought you had weighed in on that, Maxine.
We were, but I think that
Okay,
because we are not having a meeting this week
Okay.
because of Thanksgiving, and the 29th is now gonna be a workshop,
okay,
that I'm very comfortable with waiting till January.
okay,
If this commission would like to revisit this and
Okay.
have a look through it before it goes to city council.
well, I still want to have that working group meeting because it always takes longer than we think, so we need to have it for the December meeting. So I'd like to keep that in, keep that week we talked about, the week of the 28th, to have that meeting with the working group.
so is the consensus of the group that we'll have the fee group work on it and come back to the December meeting, and then we'll create a recommendation forwarding to council?
Can I add a request to that? Yes. And it's an unfair request, but I guess kind of what I don't know with lowering the deposit fee or the damage deposit fee is we're assuming that there's less breakable things in the studio than there is. I'm looking at the multi-purpose room. That could be room, and I should know by now, but I don't, it could be surrounded by glass, which could be easier to damage than the gymnasium, even though that is a larger room. If we can get some sort of assessment there of breakable things, for lack of a better term, that'll help me kind of decide, does it make sense to do a sliding based on just the room size itself?
I think the number of people really bears a lot more on the damage. The more people you have, the more likelihood you're going to have damage. That's my professional experience. And
Correct.
adding alcohol to that is the worst.
Okay.
So the biggest damage I've had from events is alcohol related and children. When people have parties with children, or excuse me, church groups come in with children and they don't supervise the children, that's when we see our big damage.
The point I was making on the damage deposit that I think would be helpful is it's 225 now. What has been we heard about the window, but overall, is this an easy number to pull from someone in the city that can say, hey, we lost 10 grand because we didn't have a higher damage deposit, or is it we lost $500 because we didn't have a higher damage deposit? That's what I was getting at earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that would be helpful for whatever that's worth.
I apologize, I didn't hear you.
She didn't hear you.
She didn't hear you, Travis.
Do my spiel again?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's not always, it's never the same after the first. The
try.
Cliff Notes version. All right. So my point on the damage deposit is we're currently at 225, right? I'm curious, is this an easy number to pull from the city that over the last however many years, we've lost 10 grand because we didn't have a high enough damage deposit, or we lost $500 because we didn't have a high enough damage deposit. That would help me understand, is the 350 really warranted, or is this just an assumption that we're making because we have more rooms and we want to be better covered? Or is it, it's like I think about college spring break. Was it the one bad guy that, got a little crazy and now we're a little bashful and we want to up the ante here? Or is it, a real issue? So anyways, that's my point.
Okay,
I would just add to that, I think also we need to factor in what is the deductible. These should be insurance claims and things that can be replaced. I don't know if the old building had that same level of availability, but what factor the deductible plays.
Are there other comments? So
One last, I would ask that on the add-on 1 hour that we make that just hourly at this stage cleaning fee versus limiting ourselves.
okay,
And I would just add that I think that we need to table the kitchen altogether until we can be clear on the use guidelines.
What the assignment is.
Yeah, 'cause
Absolutely.
right now it's undefined, and I think it is not in alignment from what I'm hearing with what I thought the community asked for.
Do you want to strike the cleaning fee out of there, Keisha?
No, I think it stays. I think it's the use guidelines that need to be defined.
and,
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
we're not going to vote on anything tonight on this. It's going to go back to the fee committee. We'll bring it back to the group next month. And what I can hope, what I would hope that we can do is that once the fee committee does its work, we will send this information, circulate it to the commission before the next meeting to review.
I suggest that we add the word next to cleaning fee, like cleaning/sanitation.
Mhm. And
So cleaning/sanitation fee.
this age of cleanliness, agreed.
I was gonna, yeah,
And then just one more thing too, I know you mentioned about being, if someone's super clean and do they need the fee? I think the fee is charged regardless. Because it still should be a level of getting the room back to a certain level of sanitation, or the kitchen, rather.
and a question to Marvin and or Beverly. When you went to these other community centers, did any of them have kitchens?
They did. The majority of them
And
did. have kitchens.
were you able to get policies from them?
No, not in regards to the kitchens. What we did see is a lot of outdoor organizations using their kitchens. So they had people come in, with proper paperwork and the things that they needed to utilize those kitchens. But
Yeah.
we didn't ask a lot of questions, in reference to how they let the community use it, and things of that nature.
And I think for the fee group, it would be useful to get those policies from some of these other communities. Does pretty much every community center have a kitchen?
Yes, they do. And we have contact information.
Okay,
So all we need to do is reach out to them and find
Okay.
out what their policies and procedures.
yeah, and I really want to advocate that if people are anticipating that we rent this kitchen out for food prep, we went through an incredibly hard process to get the current community center kitchen up when we leased it out and worked with the health department. And that's what drove our decision not to have a commercial kitchen. So if that is the intent of this commission, that we have a commercial kitchen, that is not what we're building. So I do think it's important that we have those policy discussions so everybody understands what we have and what we don't have. Because
completely agree. And I
Yeah.
think we just need to clarify that. So,
Yes, absolutely.
thank you. Let's see, the next piece of this was to talk about the membership rates. I think that has been pretty well pretty well resolved, and that's gone through council, has it not, Maxine? Okay, so then the next one was the membership benefits. We did the operations review, and I did have a quick question on operations review. There were footnotes there, but there weren't footnotes on the there are references throughout those hours, but there's no footnotes on that particular one. And since we're probably coming back later on this, we have, I see ones, twos.
What are the footnotes? Are in here, you mean?
Yep. Event.
Yeah,
look at
these, what you see down here are those footnotes. They just
Okay,
don't, the number's just not on it, but that's exactly what they are. For example, the parents' room. The parents' room open also during event rental times. So it says on here it closes at 9, but if the event rental goes till 10, the parent room will stay open. Yeah.
Okay, and then the welcome desk, you said will be open throughout all the hours that
Correct.
that's open. But
Correct.
I see things until 10 o'clock. So I was just trying to, because you've got 8 to 6 for welcome desk, but there's events, playgrounds are open until 7. Programs last until 10.
Well, so the welcome desk, the function of the welcome desk, there is also a fitness attendant. There's also a playground attendant, and the interchange, the playground attendant and the welcome desk. So again, these are operations. This is an FYI to the commission, where I'm not asking for the commission to delve into these.
Okay, no, I would just, there were some inconsistencies in it. I just wanted to. So why don't we go on to, do we need to discuss membership benefits?
Yes.
Okay, so can you flip to that screen? Okay. What questions do people have about this?
I almost want to ask about a kitchen, but it's,
Okay, go right ahead.
no, I'm kidding. Just-
I know.
Talk so much about kitchens.
So I still am struggling to understand how the cost works if you have silver sneakers, what that changes here.
I'm sorry, what?
Say that again.
I'm still trying to figure out what the cost changes are if you have like silver sneakers. What does that do to your membership?
We
And
don't know, Sue.
costs
We
go.
don't know until Silver Sneakers engages with us. We don't know what their proposal will be to us.
So if someone has silver sneakers, we don't know what it will reduce their membership, but we don't know by how much. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, if so, their fitness membership, we don't know what the reimbursement would be for that. And then the other decision we have to make is if there's a class that qualifies for Silver Sneakers and someone's coming in to take that Silver Sneakers class, we believe that we are going to require that person to have a membership and then use that Silver Sneakers for the class. So, for example, you have a membership to come to Five Oaks on Warson. You come in, you use the fitness center, but then you want to take a specialty fitness class. Then you can sign up for that class with your Silver Sneakers card, and then we're reimbursed for you taking that class. So that means that, yes, we offer Silver Sneakers, but you have to have the membership to come in and take that class. So Silver Sneakers has different programs that they offer people. Some are fitness, some are classes, and we don't know what a person has till they come in. We also don't know if we will qualify, if they will allow us to do this. We just don't know.
I guess I'm still confused and have a bigger question. If
Okay.
you go back to that membership screen. So just take, for example, if I'm an adult and I pay $249, that's a year,
Yes,
what does that include?
this. It includes everything on this checklist here, plus everything that's always free. And then there are additional fees for some things.
I would like that to say additional fee.
Instead of separate fee.
Yeah. Because if they've already paid their membership. Gonna have
So
to pay
where
something.
this also, these are semantics in here too. So this additional fee. So what that means is that if you don't have a membership, but you really want to take the line dancing class on Monday nights, you can still take it.
Right.
But you have to pay a fee at the front desk to come take that class, and then you can't use the fitness center.
I was just getting confused if it was a separate fee for everyone. Or just, like you said, a one-off.
Yeah. So personal training is interesting because it's an additional fee to have a personal training session. However, you have to have a membership in order to be able to pay that additional fee to have the personal trainer. You can't come in and just pay for a personal trainer at Community Use Center.
I think that's clear.
Okay.
Now that you said that, that makes sense. Can we put another, I know we're putting asterisks everywhere, but another asterisk just so that somebody who's just reading this without you explaining it to us, Beverly, it's clear that it's like because I was confused on the personal gym and the esports on why it's the membership and the additional fee, but it's the membership's the base. You have to be a member and you have to pay an additional fee. Is that correct?
So for esports, some things in esports are free with your membership. And then some esports, you will be able to come in with a day pass and play. But then there are additional things you can add on to esports. So like, for example, if you have a membership in the center and you want to come in and play esports, you can. If we're having a big tournament, then you're going to have to pay that additional fee for the tournament.
Correct.
So Beverly, on the personal training, you have to have a membership to use the equipment essentially. Are we going,
Personal training is when you're meeting one-on-one with a trainer.
okay, and are we going to hire those trainers? Or are we going to allow trainers to come in to work with people?
No, we will have contract trainers that are available for people to sign up with.
Okay,
So
so
you
if I have
can't-
if I have a personal trainer right now that I want to help, that person cannot come into the,
Well, they could buy a day pass and come in with you, but that gets a little bit dicey because they're operating a business inside our community center. So this is a problem that all centers deal with.
We would love to hire your personal trainer.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think Nutriformance would let.
There's several personal trainers moonlight in other gyms, so talk to your person. And have them call Marvin.
Other
A
questions?
lot of the personal trainers are contractors, so they can contract anywhere.
And is there a criteria for getting personal trainers in, or people that the city, is that going to be on a contract basis?
Yes, it's a contract basis.
So it's
All of
essentially,
our classes are contractors.
personal training, is that contract based?
Yes, everything's contract based.
Okay.
Except for the attendant. The attendants are all part-time staff.
Okay, are there other questions that people have about membership benefits?
I have one. I think it's a bit confusing. With the additional fees. I mean, I think that there's times when events will happen, special events. And maybe it's just an asterisk on those two to say special events may incur an additional fee. I think this whole additional fee column, it's confusing. So if I'm paying a membership and I can do esports every day, a tournament's not gonna happen every day. So you would know when that comes that that's a special event and that you would have to pay additional. The same with personal training. If we're not offering, and maybe I misunderstood, but we're offering our own personal trainers.
Yes.
Yes.
And so they will be, I have to pay the trainer or I just pay the fee? Or do I pay both?
No, you pay the desk. And you work with the personal trainer. You don't pay the trainer directly.
Yeah, because personal trainers are contracted.
But yes, you pay the
Through us.
membership and you pay an additional amount to work with that specific trainer.
Correct.
But you're not, so, but
don't pay
personal
them.
training does not come in the membership. Is
No,
what I'm
that's,
getting to.
no,
So I think that is a misconception. If I see this and I'm paying my membership, oh, it comes to personal training. The personal training is extra. It's an a la carte item
yeah.
that I would have to pay for. So I don't think that it should be
So the-
included. I
so-
mean, somewhere in the caveat, you need to say that in order to work with the personal trainer, you must have a full gym membership. Right? You can't do that on a day pass.
no.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying.
So
I
it
think
just
it's
needs to be more description to
Yeah.
separate how it's worded.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I just
So
think,
I've written in here access to, does that help?
Well,
I'm saying, I think you just take it out and put personal training as a separate additional item that is offered if you have a membership.
Because, because essentially what personal training under membership is access to the fitness area. And the personal training is more a service that
Mhm.
you're buying. So
Those-
I think it's just important to have this conversation because there's going to be a lot of confusion amongst the public
Correct. If we have it.
if we have it. And so if we can work through some of these
Yeah,
things. I think that-
absolutely, absolutely.
So.
Okay,
And I had one more suggestion. It's not a comment or a question. I think Maryville University should be looped into the esports. They are nationally ranked.
yeah, we have talked to them and some of their former players have started their own company called Mission Control and we've been in talks with them as well.
Yes.
There are other questions about the benefits or whatever it's called, membership benefits. Okay, hearing none, are there, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to send back the fee piece to the fee study group,
Yes,
which is Rob, Keisha and me.
yes.
And we're
And
going to.
Darren,
And we're going to bring back to the full commission the recommendations, and we will have a similar discussion. Well, we'll have a different discussion, but we'll have a discussion at the next meeting with pardon me? A briefer discussion that we can then make a recommendation to this council.
yes, and the working group is going to be investigating tiered pricing for the damage deposit.
Correct. Now,
Okay.
The other one that we had, where does kitchen policy, we've had that whole discussion, where does that?
Policy for the kitchen. So let me come back to these hourly rentals. So what I heard Keisha say, so just make sure I'm saying this correctly. You do not want to approve these fees unless you know what the kitchen policies are. Is that correct?
Correct. So
That's correct.
yes. And so does that mean it comes through the fee group as well? Is that understanding?
I don't know. I have to get direction.
No, I'm asking the group because the commission, is it acceptable that that conversation occurs through the fee group, or should there be a separate group put together for that?
Jim, I'm saying I have to get direction on how that policy is developed because I am not, it's out of my comfort level to say that the Parks and Rec Commission is developing that use policy. So I have to get direction and come back.
I think there is enough confusion that a policy needs to be brought back to this commission.
Absolutely, and
Or
that's
does-
that's exactly correct. I am agreeing to that. The process for that is what I have to get direction on from my boss.
Okay,
Okay,
Two things, a request and a question. Back on the definitions is for my question. A while ago, we talked about possibly including, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of the area that the Olivet Fire Department
oh,
covered.
yes, Elmwood Park, yes.
Thank you.
That's correct.
I'm
But-
assuming they are excluded by this definition of a
They
resident?
are excluded by this definition. The council did talk about that during their study session. And they're not opposed to the idea, but they said, get the center open and in operation first and then address it.
Okay. Then my request, and we've already done it on a lot of them, but wherever there's the asterisks, the little numbers, if there could just be a legend on those pages for our final review, that would help.
I mean, this one,
Like that one, I think you did it already in the other pages, but yeah, like this
Yeah.
one, just
Yeah.
any of the pages that have anything like that.
Okay.
It may not stop me from approving it, but it would sure help me have a higher confidence level of what I'm voting on. Thank you.
Let us move along. Prop C,
before we go, I just want to say thank you very much to Marvin.
thank you.
No
thank you.
problem. Thank you. It's a great first meeting for me.
Yeah,
Made
You're
my-
here. Nice job,
made
Marvin.
my stand goal today.
yeah.
Marvin, would it be possible to get a copy of your presentation? A hard copy
Yes.
of it, or that's your copy that you made?
Yeah, I have a lot of notes and
Okay,
things on here.
if I
but-
could, I would really like a hard copy.
Okay, yeah.
Maxine, I can send you the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Can you send it to all of us, please?
Yeah,
Can you send it to the whole commission?
Yeah,
The
affirmative.
PowerPoint, yes.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Marvin.
Okay, so if we can briefly talk about Prop C, where we are with the construction. Seems like things are moving along quite well.
Things are moving along quite well. I'm sorry that you are seeing, whoops, I gotta share my screen. I apologize. Okay, here we go. Things are moving along really fast. Remember, these dashboards are prepared the first week of the month, so there has been a significant amount of changes to the parks since this happened. We are on track for all the parks to be completed by November 30th. You'll notice that today a bunch of snow fencing came down at Indian Meadows. I mean, sorry, at Earthside. Indian Meadows basically is wide open. So think these are 4 weeks ago pictures at Earthside. But this Baba Jaga that's put up in there, that is beautiful. And that's what the commission, these playgrounds are what you picked out, and they are beautiful. It's killing me that I haven't been out there for a week. Indian Meadows looks stunning. The way it flows through the landscaping here is just so beautiful. It really is nice. And Villa is really coming along. The splash pad of Villa is complete now. This is the big lookout at Villa and the landscaping in there. And I love how the pathways wrap through the landscaping there. It's just absolutely beautiful. So everything's turning out so well. The splash pads are in, the components are in, the water lines are not 100% hooked in the street. They will be completed, but we'll still test them in the springtime just to make sure that they're all working correctly. So that is fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to walk through the parks, please do. They are just absolutely beautiful. And then if I click this, can you see the dashboard for the community center? Is that what's come up?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so the community center has walls, very exciting. I'm thinking that in December would be a good time for us to tour it again. We need to have our December meeting, but maybe we could set up a special meeting where everybody could get a chance to walk through there. So are you all interested in that?
I am.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, great. Then I'll work on that.
But early one morning, because in the evenings it's gonna be dark.
It's gonna be really dark. Yeah. So it could be,
Cold in the morning.
if people aren't available, do you want to do like a Saturday morning? Would that be better for people?
Why don't you send out a doodle and we can kind of figure.
Okay, all right. I'll send out a doodle. Good idea.
we won't solve-
The park maintenance building is really moving along now. We anticipated having power the first week of December and potentially moving in, start the move-in process later in December. So we're really hopeful that we'll stay on that track. So it's looking really good. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the parks or the community center.
Hey, Beverly, I have a question on Indian Meadows.
Yes,
So if you go through the new section and you head to the east on that walking trail and it ends like in the middle of the park,
yes.
not where it's gonna hook into the greenway?
Yes, and so we're gonna order a sign to put out there so that people know that this is the future extension of the Greenway. We pulled it back because there has to be grading done there, and it's a much easier join if the Greenway comes to us rather than us extending that concrete out. So that was that's where the engineers decided was the most seamless connectivity spot for the work that they're doing, because they're gonna excavate and do some of that bioretention area and then the amended soils. So that was the best place. So we'll put a sign out there. We've left up the sign at the front that explains the future connection there, but when we get that other sign up where that kind of sidewalk ends, then we'll take down the other one.
And do we have a timeline on that greenway extending through there?
Yeah, they're doing it next year.
Okay.
But starting in the spring, or what is?
I think it's in the spring. I'm not sure. That is the one that's funded through the federal grant, and that has a very different whole slew of requirements that happen on that. So they even had to do the environmental review. So I don't know where they are with that, but I can give you an update on that at the next meeting.
Is there any update on phase 3? Have they gone back to along the railroad crossing there, or what's the status of that?
My understanding is that they are acquiring the land from
Union
Union
Pacific.
Pacific.
Good. So it's,
Yeah.
so they're not going to go through the industrial park. They'll go on the north side of it.
I believe that they will go on that until until they got the
Right.
signed deed from the railroad. Anything's possible, but it does sound like it's back on track. And I know they're working with the Olive Crossing. I don't know what's going on over there.
One question on the parks, they're reopening, they're taking down the snow fences. What is the plan for the park, for Parks Department to go in and clean up the areas that we haven't been able to get to, because there's a lot of a lot of grass and debris back in the back
Mhm.
of the
Yeah,
parks.
yeah, we'll
We're gonna be able
address
to
it.
do that during the winter.
Yes, we will do it during the winter as we're able to. So we did Stacy already, did a lot of areas of Stacy, and we were able to get in when they took the fencing down. Right now, the crew's focused on getting Stacy and the pathway ready for turkey trot. And then in the winter, they'll start addressing that, because there are also some old things we want to take out of the parks too that didn't get demoed. So we're still continue to remove. It all depends on the ground and the wetness and the cold, but that is on our work plan.
Okay. Are there other questions on the park improvement?
I just had one quick, so are we on the actual park improvements, we are over budget? Is that what I'm seeing on the contingency allowances? That 41,000 over budget?
The 41,000, that's a projected contingency remaining.
But you only had 136 and you spent 170. That should be a negative amount. So is that off of the entire budget?
That's off the parks budget. That's not off the entire budget.
Well, I mean, well, I guess the entire budget for the parks.
Yes.
So it's over. But we'll make it up on the community center stuff. Yeah. Okay, that's all I was trying to figure out. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Got it.
Give it.
Keisha,
give-
you scared me.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Given the late hour, I will ask for people just to review the future agenda items, what we'll be talking about at meetings and the dates, important dates. As we move forward, and you'll get notices of those as well. So, if there are no other comments, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. There a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a
Second
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is over. Thank you, Beverly.
Thanks, everybody. Thank
you
you
feel
very much.
better.
I went home.